Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Adorned with Dignity. Today we're on day 14 and we're talking about the reward for the mitzvah of covering the hair. This one's a little bit different from the reward of tznuis. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, and I think I have, but covering the hair and tznuis, I think a lot of people think that they are one mitzvah and the same, and they're not. They're actually two different mitzvot. And we just clump them together because they have to do with modesty. But we're going to start. It says schar for the mitzvah. And it says a woman who covers her hair meticulously portrays that she is subjugating her will to the will of Hashem. Thus she becomes worthy of receiving a great reward. As it's written in Avos, perform Hashem's will as if it was your own will, and then Hashem will perform your will as if it were his will. Since married women perform the mitzvah of kisur rosh throughout the day, Hashem will fulfill their wishes, and they will reap the mouths of schar for every minute they will cover the hair properly. So this is no different than when a man wears a tzitzit. For every second he has that on, he's gaining mitzvot. Same thing for us. So now we're going to start going on to what some of those rewards are, and they're going to quote some of the sources. And the first one that they're citing is virtuous children, and it's coming down from the Zohar, and it promises that a woman who is particular with covering her hair, allowing no hair to show at all, will have this zechus to have children who will be endowed with graciousness and will be among the most important people of their generation. Her children will be like an olive tree that stands above all other trees, for its leaves never fall off, and they've always stayed green. In the same way, a modest woman's children will be more important than all the other people in the world. So one of the examples we have is Rebbetzin Miriam Karletz, the mother of the Hazon Ish, and she was asked, "In what zechus did you merit to have children who are all Gedolai Yisrael?" And she answered them, "In the merit of being extremely careful in performing the mitzvah of covering my hair." So it says, enhancing marriage. It says, when a woman wears a modest head covering, she portrays that she is reserving her beauty for her husband. Indeed, her behavior reflects what her husband proclaimed under the chuppah: "You are sanctified for me." In Shirin, the woman is praised with the words, "You are beautiful, my beloved, and you have beautiful eyes like the dove." And the Midrash explains that just like a dove is faithful to her mate, so too Jewish woman is faithful to her husband through not attracting attention to herself in public and preserving her beauty for him. So it says, just as the Kelim and the Beit HaMikdash was designated a specific place, so too a woman is designated only for her husband. Through this, she strengthens the bond of her soulmate and beautifies her marriage. Indeed, women who have upgraded their level of covering their hair have attested that this has enhanced their marriage and brought more harmony into the home. So, it's funny, when I'm reading this, it really strikes me, because we're talking about, the marriage and, being sanctified only for your husband. But, there are different ways of being unfaithful to your husband, right? And Shir Shirim really talks about that. And it really talks about the unfaithfulness that we had towards Hashem. Has v'shalom, and it's funny because sometimes, there's like a concept we understand, and that's the outright betrayal when you've gone out with somebody else and you've been with that person, you've been known to that person. That's like the equivalent of, has v'shalom, converting to another faith. But there is this concept of an emotional affair, right? And sometimes those are more devastating because those have a connection. It's not like it's just a physical attraction. It's more of an emotional thing. And for women, this is more so the reason. If you poll women as to why they stray in their marriages as opposed to men, 90, maybe 9 out of 10 times, the women will say that, that there was like this emotional attraction there, where with men, it's kind of a physical thing. So it almost strikes me that, that there would be this reward attached to having a more peaceful marriage, because as we know, everything is measure for measure. And it almost seems like when we're playing around with tznuis in any form, whether it's covering the hair, whether it's playing with our modesty, when we're playing around, it almost seems like in some way we're dancing around this emotional affair with the Yitzhak. And we are, because then what happens? He brings the allure and this connection to things that aren't quite kosher. And at first it's the length of the skirt, or the length of the sleeves, the neckline. Whenever we're flirting around with this, it is almost like we're straying. It's like an emotional affair. So something to really think about. And obviously, measure for measure, when we are staying faithful to Hashem, it's like a marriage again, and He in turn gives us this strong marriage, and we're going to continue on. It says wealth. It says it become very popular nowadays to look for segulas for success and parnasah. In truth, there's a segula and hatzlacha and parnasah that is brought down by the Chazal. It says subsequently in the Paskim, which has a clear Masorah dating back thousands of years. And the segula is originally found in Zohar, written by the Tana Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And it says, if a woman is careful that even the beams of her house do not see the hair on her head, her husband will grant brachos from above and below, riches, children, and grandchildren. And he will be blessed from Zion, and he will merit to see the good of Yerushalayim. So I must confess, I'm not holding at that level. There are times that the beams of my house do see my hair. But the point is, you have to be so careful. It's one of those things that you have to, again, it's a process. So let's not, take that and run to the extreme with it. It's a process. I myself am not at the level where, I never ever show my hair inside my house. I've been very good about, when my children are not here, then, I let my hair out, which is permissible. That goes to the level that we are in this generation. So it says, hair represents the great divine providence with which Hashem nourishes us all. Thus, by displaying our trust in Hashem and covering in according to the Halaqa, we will merit that Hashem will provide us, just as He provides each and every hair with its own nourishment. So it says respect, and it says when a woman covers her hair, she portrays that she is precious and respectable, not because of her outer appearance, but because of her inner value. Since women are graced with an attractive external appearance, they are susceptible to being drawn away from their true identity, which is inside and hidden. Indeed, women deserve respect and appreciation from their neshamos wisdom. For their neshamos wisdom and intelligence, sensitivity, and perception. This is accomplished when they conceal their outer beauty from public. So I gotta tell you, I find this to be very true. I find that, there is a bigger connection to my tznuis, I think, than anything else, not just from the men, but also from the women. And ironically, even from women who they're not even Jews, they're goyim, they're goyas. And I've had goyas come up to me in the office, and they would say, I went out shopping and I was looking for a dress, and there was two things I kept in mind, and one, did it go past my knees, and was it too tight? And it's just funny, And another one came up to me. She said that she had spent like the whole of her Sunday trying to wrap her hair the way I wrap mine. So it's really there is a level of respect. I think people do respect it. I think especially in this world where everything is so fake, and everyone is always trying to impress everyone. You don't really know who's authentic anymore. You don't know who's authentic, and it's very hard to discern and decipher what is the amass. So I find that when I'm sticking to the amass, especially in a way that's so public, that people respond because it's so rare and people want to seek it out. But at the end of the day, I said it before, I'll say it again. I would rather be hated for who I really am than loved for who I was pretending to be. My neshama will suffer greatly, especially now if I revert it back. It would suffer. It would be such a hardship for my neshama to do it, because it's not who I feel like I really am. And a lot of people, they comment, your face is always glowing. And I really think that has to do with my neshama just finally being free. There is, I don't even wear makeup. And people, they always comment on how glowing the skin is, and that's all they can see. It's not covered up by hair. There's nothing distracting it. It is what it is. And people will seek out that which is rare. That's what makes it so valuable, because it is so rare. A lot of times when you have like, the best example is like, if you have, a purse that is it's like a one of a kind, it's a limited edition, those things become valuable. If you have a diamond that is flawless, it's the color, everything, it's just, those things are rare and they have a great value to it. And people seek it out. They want to, they want to see it because it is so rare. And especially, again, in this artificial world where everything is fake, everything. We're getting to the point where people's body parts are no longer their own. Nothing is their own. Nothing is real. So people, at the end of the day, they do want to get back to the basics. They do want to get back to that which is real. And tznuis is real. It is, one of the most basic foundations of Jewish principles. Hashem himself concealed, he concealed himself from the beginning of time. He's asked us to do the same. So, again, I know it seems like a foreign concept in this day and age because everything is exposed, everything is out there. But that's not the way of Hashem. Hashem's ways are not the ways of the world, and it is an upside down world. So, each day, day by day, we take it one day at a time. But with Hashem's help, we're going to be successful. And with that, we're going to conclude today's learning. And, I hope we'll all be together again soon. B'ezrat Hashem.